Alright, today's gonna be a quick one because the reality is setting in. And in a couple of days, I'm gonna be 20. And I guess maybe it hasn't settled in, but I certainly feel a bit more distracted. And I think perhaps that's what we should talk about today, about distractions. And I think that they can be useful. Distractions can be healthy when you have certain boundaries around them, but they can also be destructive. Something that I really struggle with is my phone. I might not do anything on it because I have YouTube and Instagram blocked during the day, but I just have a habit of reaching for it. And so I've been trying to replace that habit with something else. I have a bunch of different books, all that I'm like starting to read or halfway through, or some sort of way in, and I think that's better than reaching for a phone and having a bunch of different tabs and things opened and not done. I'd rather have that with a book, even if that means it's going to take me a month to finish a book. I'd much rather have that than take a month to finish something online or never even get to it because I'm like distracted by every other thing that comes up on my phone. And again, like I mentioned, or I don't know if I mentioned this, but when I come on here, I film and then I go because I know that being on my phone is distracting. And I think we can also have distractions with people and places and substances and experiences and ways of thinking that can be very distracting. And something that I've been dealing with is like the negative thoughts, and those become very distracting, I've realized, because they distract me from seeing my inner strengths, and they distract me from being kind to myself. They distract me from actually doing and achieving anything because I'm too busy stuck in my thoughts and distracting myself from a reality that is actually a lot less scary than the version that has been, just festering in my mind. And I was like catching myself today of like these horrible thoughts that I have about myself. And something that helps me, which, if you saw me in my room, you'd be like, oh my God, this girl definitely has a few loose screws. I just say it out loud. I said, oh my God. Like I talk to myself. I'm like, oh my God, you're being so mean. Oh my God, I'm going to ignore you. Because once I say it out loud, I take away its power. Because I can take ownership over how I redirect my thoughts. And, that's a philosophical question, but I try not to linger too much on that if, the outcome is that I feel a little bit more positive or I feel a little bit more in control. If it's working, then it's working. And the time to question it will come around, but for right now, it's what's working for me, and I'm okay with that. So yeah, that's the practice I do. I just try to speak it out loud, say, no, you're being mean. I'm gonna continue doing X, Y, and Z because it can be really easy to get stuck in the thoughts instead of doing something like simply putting my clothes away, and instead I'm just like hating myself for not doing this and not doing that and not doing whatever. And so I'd rather sit down and distract myself and soothe myself with this other thing. But it's just distraction from getting simple things done. Yeah, so it's frustrating, but I think it can also teach us some good like defense mechanisms of how to fight those distractions. And I think speaking is very helpful. And I think speaking also is helping me be more comfortable just saying what's on my mind. Because I can get used to hearing my own voice. I think I often have a lot of trouble in social situations, even with friends that I've known for a while, of not really saying what's on my mind or really catering my words and trying to transform my words into, palatable phrases for them, instead of really being honest and direct and saying, no, you actually misinterpreted that, or I didn't express myself clearly, this is actually what I meant. Yeah. And I feel like I keep a lot of things within. So when I'm by myself, I've been trying to just speak. But yeah, I'm gonna try not to distract myself too much, because I think also this can be a distraction. Quite ironically. And even good things that are good for you can be distractions as well. I guess it's all in moderation, right? And I also think that life kind of is distraction. Figuring out which distractions we like more and which ones we don't. But yeah, that's all I have for today. And I hope you can identify one distraction and what it's taking you away from, and what you could replace it with. Replace the distraction with maybe a more productive distraction. Yeah, that's it. I'll see you soon.